Welcome to the Firefly Tutors TV podcast, where real teachers from all over the country discuss real solutions for parents and educators alike. Here's your host, Marissa Johnston.
Hello and welcome to The Buzz, brought to you by Firefly Tutors TV, where we talk to administrators, educators, and parents all across the country about current topics affecting school children today. On the podcast today, we are speaking with a special guest. We're fortunate to have Eliana Farias with us. Eliana spent 7 years as an elementary teacher at Hooper Avenue Elementary in South LA, where she was recognized as Teacher of the Year. She also received recognition and awards for her time spent volunteering as an ESL teacher for the parents within the community. Eliana has worked for the Educare Foundation for over 25 years as a facilitator of personal growth workshops for K-12 students, parents, and staff, where she teaches interpersonal skills, team building, and leadership development. As a mom of two, Eliana has experience with traditional, private, and homeschool education. She is also one of Firefly Tutors' outstanding tutors. Thank you for joining us, Eliana.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to be on the buzz, and I'm excited to be here.
So, Eliana, what are some takeaways you'd like to share with our listeners from your varied experiences in education?
Well, my takeaway would be, when I wasn't having a good time in my life, I was having a lot of challenges, like I shared. I would listen to some YouTubers that were homeschooling. And I was thinking about some of them would stress me out because it just reflected on everything that I needed to be doing and I couldn't get to it.
Yeah.
Some of them were very encouraged. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Like you shared, that's cute. I could do this and that. But there was somebody that shared something that really stuck to me. It's like at the end of the day, regardless what kind of day you're having, what is essential today? And so it narrowed it down to three things when I asked myself that. I was like, okay, the three most essential things at the end of this day is, did I love my kids? Do they feel loved? Okay, I can do that. The second thing is, do they feel protected? In the sense, not just physical protection. It's like, did I protect their childhood? Or am I stressing them out with so much expectations? And the third thing is, am I taking care of all their basic needs? So the third one's pretty easy. Okay, I can feed and clothe them, get them showered, all the basics. Love, I can do that. And the second one is the protecting part. I needed to really be mindful about, can I get the work done in a way that I know when I need to step back more and ease the reins or change the style that I'm doing it. So ask yourself those questions each day to self-assess both as a parent, as an individual, and as a teacher. And that's going to help you kind of gauge where you're at and how you need to tailor your teaching style and your living style and your mothering style.
Right. And it is so important to keep in mind, tomorrow's a new day.
Absolutely.
If you felt that today just didn't go as you wanted or could have gone better, that's why this reflective piece is so crucial, is because it gives you the chance to address what wasn't addressed or what, you didn't address properly or in the way you wanted to, whatever it may be, tomorrow.
Absolutely.
You can restart tomorrow.
Absolutely. And also use your kids. Ask them. I plan out, tell them, okay, guys, we got to do this. How can we make this fun? And they'll think about it. They'll do simple things. I was like, let's just go do goofy hair. Okay, let's go just pull gel and let's put it up. And then we're doing, some science stuff that wasn't that fantastic, that entertaining, but we have goofy hair and that's making it more fun. You know what I mean? So I always remembered one of my college teachers that stands out. We had a class at UCLA of 250 students in this lecture. And every once in a while, when we had to go through a literature book that it wasn't the greatest or the most interesting, he would just bake chocolate chip cookies for all of us and bring them in. He goes, okay, we got to handle this material, but guess what? I baked you guys cookies. And it was just so amazing, So little things like that that you can just add on. Ask your kids, how can we make this fun? Or what do you need to do
Yeah.
right now so that we can get through this and still have a smile at the end of all this? And they'll tell you, and their
Yeah.
needs will change.
How funny that you brought that up because it reminded me of my world history teacher in high school. Um, world history can be very dark, very depressing, very hard to get through. And one time when we were going through a particularly difficult stretch, he brought us homemade brownies. And it
Oh,
was just,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of us ended up asking for the recipe. He had clipped it out of a newspaper years before, so he shared it with us, but we got to just kind of sit back and enjoy the brownies, but still also go through something that was hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
History can be tough,
Yeah.
but I love that, bringing in something that may not have anything at all to do with it. Not everything has to connect, but
Absolutely.
creating that positive memory and then also helping with the senses, you know?
Absolutely.
Now when I
Absolutely.
smell brownies and taste brownies, I think of a certain period in history.
Yeah,
Maybe that's not the best.
Yeah, and absolutely, Diane. With fireflies, that's one of our key ingredients in everything we do. Is like, how do we make this sensory?
Yes.
Sensorial for the kids. How do we involve all the senses? Because all the research shows that's the best way to learn.
Yes.
And the thing that involves the most senses is playing, having
Hmm.
fun. It engages all your senses, so it's the best way to learn and to teach. So try it out.
Yeah, definitely. And then that'll end up being a green light. The kiddo's going to go, I loved when we were playing, while learning our multiplication tables today, so
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
And they love seeing mommy and daddy being silly. That might be the
Yes.
standout. It's like, my green light was like, Mama got up and yelled out loud, especially if they always see you being meek and quiet,
Yeah.
And that teaches them also a valuable growth skill, which is to step
Yep.
outside of your comfort zone continuously as a way of growing and learning as an individual. And so
Yeah.
if you model it for them, you're already like setting them up for success in life, because really, if you think about it, life is just continuous comfort zones, stepping outside your comfort zones, opportunities in everything you do. So if you
Yes.
learn it early on in life as a strategy, it becomes normal to you, then you're able to face all your challenges with a different perspective and a different way of approaching those experiences.
Yes. Yes. And that brings me back to a memory of the teacher who my student taught under. She um was a very stoic individual, very straight-laced. She was a second grade teacher, and she was very structured in how she delivered her instruction, in setting expectations and procedures. And the students knew, first I do this, then I do this, and I put this here when I'm done, and all that. And her classroom ran like a well-oiled machine. But she told me at one point, she said, you know there's something that I do every year that these students, when they grow up, when they go to middle school, high school, I guess the high school that was paired with their elementary school, they ask the seniors when they're graduating, what is a memory, like a core memory that you have from education that has always stuck with you, that's one of
Mm.
your favorite things you remember about going to school in our district? And she said every year her former second graders would bring up this one instance, and it had nothing to do with the structure she provided, nothing to do with, um, the procedures that they had to follow, anything like that, not even really anything to do with what they learned. It was Halloween when she dressed up in full witch outfit and brought in this huge real cauldron, and they
Uh,
all participated by bringing in little bits and snacks and stuff, and she would turn off the lights and make this big show about, we're making witches brew, and she would,
that's
brew it
fun.
all up, but the things they were contributing were all little food pieces, so they also got to eat it, and that is so critical for when we're working with children, is to keep in mind that they're going to learn best through those memories, those memorable moments. And
Absolutely.
you have to make it fun.
Yeah, sensory, they remembered her outfit, they remember the cauldron, they remember the whatever pieces she put in there
Yeah.
stands out. So for the listeners out there, as me and Marissa are recalling teachers that have affected us, do the same. Take a moment to look back and reflect back on those teachers, what stands out from all your years of going to school,
Yeah.
and it'll become obvious to you what was really important. As an elementary school teacher, I would, as a treat to my students, every so often, I would take a group of 4 of them out, especially because it was the hood, low income. Many of them hadn't really left that environment. And I have stayed in touch with many of them over the years. And when I ask them, what do you remember back from all the good stuff, academic stuff I taught you that year?
Yeah.
And they're like, the field trip. They're
Yeah.
like, what? I had
Sure.
done such a good job with high frequency words. But that's not what they remember. I remember the movie you took us to, miss, or I remember you took us to the beach, or I remember you took us to eat a burrito at your favorite place, and they remember those things. Just like I remember my Miss Oakland, my biology teacher. I don't remember her for teaching my biology. I remember her because she would talk to me and have me feed her the pets that we had in the classroom.
Yes.
And I remember that she found out that I was collecting stamps at that time, and she was from Turkey, and she would bring me stamps from Turkey.
Oh, very
And that's
cool.
what I remember from that class.
Yep.
So the emotions, the human connection is what teaches the most. So if you can love and pour love into your students and fun, it'd be great. Now, many parents are like, okay, if I do fun, that I lose control and I'm not able to get that important stuff out. Well,
Right.
you're going to need to work it out. And one way that I use for my kids, for example, because for example, I have these glasses and I have boy in ones, and I use them when we do reading time to
Mm-hmm.
make it more fun for them. But sometimes it can get a little crazy because kids
Yeah.
love fun. So they might get, all riled up. So then
Sure.
I also have my serious glasses on, my teacher glasses. So then I was like, okay, mommy's switching now to serious mode, okay? Because we actually do have 10 minutes to finish this lesson, okay? So then
Yes.
to have those visual transitions too, because they do need balance. Life is not all about having fun. You want to have fun while you're going through life, but it's not just have fun. So we also want to teach those boundaries for the kids.
Yes, and another great way to set boundaries can be providing, it sounds so stiff, but an agenda, putting up on the whiteboard
Yep.
or easel paper or what have you. These are the goals we'd like to accomplish today,
Yep.
and just in simple terms, no one needs the time by time breakdown or
Yep.
in depth of what it is, but just we're going to do multiplication for this time. We're going to read for not even time, but we need to get our multiplication, we need to do our reading, we need to do our science, something like that. And then also, time can be a very difficult concept for kids who haven't learned it yet or are just beginning to learn it. So, also providing them with that, like, hey, let's spend about, 20 minutes on math this morning, and then having a visual aid like a timer where they can see, okay, we're setting the timer for 20 minutes. And maybe that math lesson is super goofy, but you get to keep referring back to, look, we only have 9 minutes left. We still got to get this done. Let's refocus. Let's get
Absolutely.
to it. It helps them stay on task, but
Yeah.
also not miss out on those fun opportunities as well.
Absolutely. And especially with my little one, what I do the agenda that you're referring to,
Hmm.
but I also leave him a little space. I have a huge wall one so that we can write it in. And
Nice.
so I get the to-dos that we got to do, and then I leave a blank one so that he
Hmm.
gets to write what he wants to do after we get through those things, and he draws it out. And so that's one way to kind of bring the kids into that planning mode.
Yes.
And in terms of playtime too, it's okay, like what you're saying, Marissa, the timer, the visual reminder, okay, let's get it through this. It teaches them time management skills too. Then what I do with my little ones, guess what? If we get it done in 10 minutes, mommy's going to chase you all around the house,
Yeah.
okay? And so build in those rewards. Rewards
Yes.
doesn't have to be sugary stuff. It can
No.
be experiences, it's okay, we finished this, guys. We get to go play hide and go seek for 5 minutes with mom and dad, okay?
Yes.
And they love that, those incentives of bringing
Yes.
in that play stuff, if you need to manage it more, because
Yeah.
you have kids that just get all wild and crazy, do it a little bit different. Let's see how you fit it into your schedule and your lives.
And as long as it works for them. Not everything works for every single person.
Absolutely.
You do have
Absolutely.
to play around with it a little bit. But I mean, even to keep in mind that as adults, we do that for ourselves. We set standards. We say, I'm going to work on this for however long, and then I'm going to give myself a break. And whatever that break may entail, maybe I'm going to go run to the coffee shop. Maybe I'm just going to head to the fridge and grab a snack or something, or read a page out of my book, something that makes me feel good. And we have to demonstrate that for kids as well, of letting them know you deserve to do what you want to do, but you do have to prioritize the things that need to get done first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like we started this conversation going with over learning styles and love language.
Mm-hmm.
And you also need to take in consideration the developmental stage that they're in, because what works for one kid may not work for the other.
Right.
And so, for example, one child needs this bonbon, cheerleading. But then I have another student that I tutor that she's much more mellow. And so with her, I might just put a little icon with a thumbs up,
Yeah.
when we're doing virtual. So it's learning how to adapt. And there's days too. Sometimes they don't want the pom-poms, they just want good job, So we have the rainbow.
Yeah, definitely. So, Eliana, are there any additional resources you'd like to share before we end our podcast today?
Just two quick ones. I already mentioned Mandy's book, but the other one that's really great is this is from the founder of Educare. It's called Heart Set Education, and it's for those parents that really need to learn more how to address the whole child. So taking in the whole child, not just we need to teach this child. Right. So he's a master at interpersonal skills. So it's a great resource. And I would also encourage people. I recently learned about Diane's father's book, Education Warrior, written by our very own CEO and founder of Firefly, Diane Cutler-Lewis. Mm-hmm. And so that's on my list to read because I'm just amazed at what she has created with this organization that's doing such amazing work. And so I was like, and if you listen to a podcast, it's just wonderful, wonderful, insightful information from Diane and Marissa and Star and Kelly, that if you add up all their experience together, it's like super, super mega specialized in this area. That I was driving here and I was thinking, the bus is kind of like The View, but on education, and I have really enjoyed listening to them, and I highly recommend it to whoever's listening, go back and read. Also use the website because they have amazing blogs on different strategies and techniques on how to teach kids how to write and what to do if if they get confused with math terms, etc. And they are professionals. They have been in the area of education. They have all sorts of certifications. They have experience with hundreds and thousands of students all over California and the United States. And they're very well equipped. So it's a great resource. And the last thing I would encourage parents to do is vision boards. Not only do a vision board for you on what kind of experience you want to have, I did one for me as a mother, and I have it on my door. So I remember that I want to be a playful mom, that I want to be a fun mom, that I want to be an engaging mom, and I also have one on the doors of my kids, so that when I open it in the morning, I remember what kind of childhood I want them to experience. So if I'm not having a good day, it's a great reminder for me to cool it and breathe before I walk in. Yes. Get it together. So obviously you can tell I'm a visual learner. So the vision boards works wonders. So if you just take the time to do those, put them on the doors, put them on your phones, put them on the screen, so put them somewhere you're going to see them, especially if you're homeschooling, you're with kids all the time. You need that constant reminder so that you go back, because life happens. And we know that parenting is very challenging, and it's the toughest job you'll ever have, and the most challenging and the most fun and the most impactful too.
Yes. And I know, it can be hard for kids, for adults, for everyone of the like, to decompartmentalize at the end of the day and remember, leave work at work, let home be home. be the person that you have always wanted to be for those people that you're coming home to,
Absolutely.
and it can be a difficult thing to do. Sometimes our days, our lives just can be so heavy, and we want to just be left alone, or let it be quiet for a little bit or something. But
Yeah.
we have to keep in mind there are other people in our lives too who weren't part of what we're feeling right now. They didn't contribute to that. They are excited to see you, and they want to spin around and hop on your leg and welcome you home, mom, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and just remember that it goes by fast. I
Yeah.
know that when I with my kids were younger, it just felt forever that we're going to be struggling with the car seats and the strollers and
Oh
this and
no.
that. And now we're done with that stage. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I want to go back. I want to hold them. I want to put them in my little holder things and carry them all around the house.
Yeah.
So just having that reminder, this too shall pass, but not in a bad way.
Right.
Just to remind yourself to stay grounded and grateful that they're not going to be at this stage very long.
No.
Literally, the days are counted before they move on to the next stage. And before you know it, they're just bye bye, mom.
Yeah, graduating
So
high school and
yeah, so actually
yeah.
enjoy it and do your self-assessment for you. At the end of the day in the shower, do your green light, yellow light, red light.
Yeah.
Focus on your green line. That's just basically gratitude. What are you
Yes.
grateful for that you got through that day? It's a lot that we go
Yeah.
through as parents. In my last words that my great friend and mentor, Stu Semigrant from Educare, would always say, kids don't care what you know until they know how much you care.
Yes.
And it's such wise words. And somebody else said that, but I can't remember who it was. So I attribute it to Stu. He would always say it and adapt it to kids. And it's so true. It's like, you may have the best intentions that day in teaching them all this academic stuff, but until you somehow show your kids that you care for them, and we know you do because you're their parents, you naturally care, but
Yes.
sometimes we don't express it in the way that they understand it.
Right.
And until you do, they're not going to be those sponges willing to let you teach them whatever it is you want to teach them. So take those minutes to show care and love for them, bringing the fun in for them. You'll see how much more engaging the process is and how much fun education can be if we just approach it in a different way.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Eliana, as our guest speaker today. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you, Marissa and Diane and everybody at Firefly. You guys are amazing. I love being on board. And all the tutors out there, keep doing what you're doing, one student at a time, because you guys are doing great work. And parents, keep on doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job, and keep equipping yourself, and just apply one thing we've said today to your life and see how that goes. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. If you enjoyed our discussion today, please like Firefly Tutors on all your social media hubs like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Find us on Pinterest, where we pin all of our favorite resources for parents and tutors. At Firefly Tutors, we believe every student deserves the opportunity to develop to their highest potential. See you next time on The Buzz.